He was leering at us. I felt very uncomfortable and wanted to leave. He was leering at us. I felt very uncomfortable and wanted to leave. Leering, looking in an unpleasant, sexually interested way. Leering, looking in an unpleasant, sexually interested way.
Leering, looking in an unpleasant, sexually interested way.
Please do not leer at me.
Leonard, don't leer. You have a girlfriend.
Semi-pornographic leering monkey lamp? How could you?
Stranger leering through a pair of binoculars 10 floors up.
Hold that leer.
Did you see that? The teacher just leered.
I saw the leer.
All those eyes just leering and leering at us?
I was leering.
I did not leer. Did I leer?
No leer.
Look kind of scrawny. Look kind of scrawny.
Scrawny.
Scrawny little fella. Scrawny little neighbor boy.
Precious, scrawny, little neck.
Scrawny, weird and scrawny.
Scrawny. Barely alive.
They ain't well fed. Scrawny.
This is crew cut, stocky, wearing
Short, stocky, slow-witted, bald man.
Even you with your stocky
man, I think.
stocky build,
Approximately 5 foot 10 inches.
He's short. He's stocky.
Stocky fella.
No, he's not stocky.
Have washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline.
That isn't full of mobsters or sallow men getting wanked.
I think it does have that sallow tint. Blonde hair, leather jacket, British accent, kind of sallow, but in a hot way.
He's nice. He's funny. He has the sallow drawn counter.
And now your face is sallow, unattractive, disgusting.
The discoloration of the face.
No, she's always been quite a sallow woman.
Dead trees, soft, fallow ground.
Lives. So the stress of it all shows up on our faces, making us look happy.
You look haggard.
We seek audience with King Haggard.
State your business with King Haggard.
Repulsed by her haggard appearance.
You look so haggard, Zabba. You look so haggard, Zabba.
And doesn't Clark look a little haggard to you?
Name's not Billy, Grandpa. And what's wrong with you? Why do you look all haggard?
I wouldn't really describe her as haggard.
A haggard lady who runs the orphanage.
Darling, have you eaten? You look haggard.
There's some haggard-ass chick lurking around. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
No. No, I prefer to be unsociable and taciturn.
Taciturn. Gone to the dim and out of silence.
All right. Now that weird taciturn fellow who's always walking around with his backpack has put in an absurd request to stage a protest in the town square.
Buffy, I too know the love of a taciturn man, and
He's actually, believe it or not, somewhat taciturn. He's actually, believe it or not, somewhat taciturn.
You mistook my taciturn nature for fealty.
Same taciturn, self-regarding guy.
Taciturn. Introspective.
So taciturn all of a sudden. Peter, give me some detail.
I'm young, spoiled, impetuous, and American. Humor me.
not exactly. It was impetuous.
Anne's always been impetuous.
General, I must protest this impetuous decision.
Sitting there in the White House, calling me impetuous.
Impetuous. Passionate. You kids have any passion?
For one mad, impetuous moment, I lost my head.
Thoughtful and impetuous.
And what would you say if I suddenly put my arms around you?
I think what a mad, impetuous fool he is.
Yes.
So, it might possibly have been a rather impetuous assessment.
Yeah, who's to judge a man the rest of his life for one impetuous act?
Counts as generous and impetuous. Custer decision, impetuous.
You're supposed to be the impetuous one here, not me.
Well, you know, Gloria, she's impetuous.
I think what a mad, impetuous, wonderful fool he is.
Grant called me impetuous too.
Shut up! You petulant little runt!
For one mad, impetuous moment.
The ocean, overpeering of his list, eats not the floods with more impetuous haste than young Laertes and a riotous
it! Oh, Bears, you're off!
He's just impetuous.
You mad, impetuous, romantic darling.
Impetuous. Foolish. Oh dear. The young.
Cardinal Piccolomini is vain, short-tempered, rough-mannered, and impetuous.
Wow, you wild, romantic, impetuous fools.
Wow.
Not Rafi. Rafi's too impetuous.
He's in wretched physical condition, impetuous, and clumsy.
You impetuous little fool!
Mutt can be a little impetuous.
I loved my son, Detective, but he could be impetuous.
Seeing as how you've been impetuous enough to flash it at me like some common street art.
That things might cease, tears his white hair, which the impetuous blasts with eyeless rage catch their fury, and make nothing of.
Guessed according to who?
Please, this is not the time to pull your impetuous child routine.
It's ludicrous. By God, it's impetuous.
It's almost impetuous, wouldn't you say?
You're reckless, arrogant, impetuous. Probably be dead by sundown, but I...
Don't be so impetuous.
I do believe my impetuous friend is challenging you.
Hey, excuse my partner, she's a bit impetuous. So impetuous.
Nobody bottled things up like Emma Rence's grandfather did.
See, Emily tends to be impetuous. It's stronger.
My lady-in-waiting has told me about how brave and dashing you were yesterday.
Impetuous, dashing.
Let no one pass this way without a fight. Is that so? Said the knight, in a bold and haughty manner.
No, thy traitorous, haughty sons, confederates, all thus to dishonor me. But
You're haughty and you always say the wrong thing in every situation.
And give me haughty.
haughty eyes.
Pride goeth before destruction. A haughty spirit before the fall.
And the look of haughty servitude.
Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall.
Too late.
Haughty, pristine that conceit.
The king himself is haughty care, which overlooks all his men.
Come on, hurry up!
Because it seems to me you might not want to take quite such a haughty tone.
Or just my normal look of haughty derision. You don't know we're wrong yet. Haughty derision it is.
Lion, rich and haughty.
Yes, haughty.
Rather haughty.
You're haughty and you always say the wrong.
She has a rather haughty manner. She has a rather haughty manner.
Very put together. Never had a hair out of place.
Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place and immaculate clothes. Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place and immaculate clothes.
Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place and immaculate clothes.
Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place in immaculate clothes. Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place in immaculate clothes. Mrs. Blownover was always the opposite. Never a hair out of place in immaculate clothes.
Cigarette perfectly in hand, not a hair out of place. Here to.
So who's that rather diffident chap I saw you talking to around the back?
Diffident in the most seductive way, and yet.
You shouldn't be so diffident about your achievements. You've done really well.
You shouldn't be so diffident about your achievements. You've done really well. You shouldn't be so diffident about your achievements. You've done really well.
There was a diffidence in her soft voice.
There was a diffidence in her soft voice.
The biggest difficulty is overcoming natural British diffidence.
The biggest difficulty is overcoming natural British diffidence.
Diffidence.
Diffidence. Diffidence.
Diffidence.
Mr. Purcell is such a diffident man. He seems to have quite low self-esteem.
Mr. Passel is such a diffident man. He seems to have quite low self-esteem. Mr. Passel is such a diffident man. He seems to have quite low self-esteem.
Be not so besotted with the kingly power.
You're besotted with that old lady and her old wives' tales.
Besotted. An excellent match.
All I know is that a man that didn't know who you were was with you in that room for half an hour and came out besotted.
Gibbs, you filthy besotted shellback, you made it.
Aye!
He's just as besotted as I am with Mary.
An avalanche of applause, envious looks from besotted undergraduates, and a modest bow from the accompanist.
That's very romantic.
I wish it was. She drove me mad. I was besotted by her.
Silly sod was besotted with her.
We were bosom friends.
They met up when they worked in the Boer War spectacle in the St. Louis Fair, and they've been bosom friends ever since.
We are now bosom friends and resolved to ship aboard the same vessel.
I and a Barry, we were bosom friends.
Oh, we are bosom friends.
And bosom friend.
She was the bosom friend of a once proud family.
A small circle of friends, but no bosom friends, mind you.
Among your scrupulously honest friends, anyway. He's now leading a scrupulously honest life as a truck driver for this very firm.
You didn't even feel her forehead. How do I get that kind of credibility? Ready to go back to school? I don't know. I mean, I could risk it, but... No, you just stay put. Wow, you didn't even feel her forehead. How do I get that kind of credibility? With 8 years of scrupulous honesty. Nah, it's not worth it.
Jamie has always been scrupulously honest in his dealings with us.
Jamie has always been scrupulously honest in his dealings with us. Jamie has always been scrupulously honest in his dealings with us.
I would expect complete and unswerving loyalty from a true friend. I would expect complete and unswerving loyalty from a true friend.
I would expect complete and unswerving loyalty from a true friend. I would expect complete and unswerving loyalty from a true friend. Unswerving loyalty. Unswerving loyalty.
It's repeating what I said to placate me, and it's not gonna work.
That excuse might have placated the sheriff, but you can't fool me.
Sounds like something a politician says to placate his base.
I don't want you to marry me because you're placating me.
You can't keep interrupting affairs of state to placate my...
Again. And yes, allow me to placate.
Placate me? I'm being serious, dude.
The union's happy. The parents are placated.
You're placating me.
Inept placate. The only way to placate the wrath of the gods.
Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results. Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results.
Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results. Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results.
Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results. Sarah was in an exultant mood after her great exam results.
The feeling of exultation that you experience.
An offering for the exaltation of her merciful glory.
To dance! Clap hands! Exalt! Shout! Skip! Roll on! Float! On!
It was exultant.
Are you ready to be exult?
Exultation, this is Mac.
Exult. Exult.
Exult. Exult.
They exulted at their victory. They exulted at their victory.
They exulted at their victory. They exulted at their victory.